Hello everybody, welcome to another Valheim video. Today I'm excited to talk to you about the CoinTrader system. Welcome to the Dvergr CoinTraders. The CoinTraders are a special kind of Dvergr that are populated throughout the world in Path of Magic, the public Valheim server that I run that you are welcome to join and try out. In this video, I'll first show you how the CoinTraders work, and invite you to play on Path of Magic to try them out. After that, I'll go into detail of why I've been so excited about this project and what my plans are moving forward. Each coin trader has a special item that they're selling, and they accept payment in the form of piles of coin. This individual wants 2 more piles of coin for a rank 2 stash of stamina food. Let's indulge a little bit, give him his coin piles, boom! And in a puff of hearts, we have our stamina food stash. Sometimes they're worth it, other times they're not. Let's check out another coin trader so you can start getting a sense of the different kinds of rewards that are available. Conveniently, there's one over there on that island. Ooh, this is one of my favorite ones. It's gonna be more expensive, but it's worth it. All of the coin traders start out as contemplating coin traders. They tell you what they offer, but they don't give you a price. You have to give them 1 pile of coins, and then they will make a price. And the price usually can vary a lot. This one, for example, it's probably too expensive, in all honesty. 35 piles of coin is a huge amount, right? So I still need to balance the rates a little bit, but let's see what this one has to offer. I have the infinite coins in development mode, so we can just keep giving him coins. I ran out of stamina. There we go, we can just keep giving him coins. So here we have his chest, and we can see that it's got a bunch of different building supplies here. We've got around 600 stone and some samplings of later on building supplies, tar, crystal, and some iron. The idea with those building boxes is to give people enough resources that they might be able to build something right then and there. But obviously, that amount of coins is much too expensive, so I'll lower those. Those should roll for between, I'd say, 3 and 15 coins. And speaking of those coin traders, it's a cool chest, isn't it? I don't know what Iron Gate originally put this in the game for, but I assume it's from the very beginning, and then they just didn't end up using it in normal Valheim. They have these chests that you can kick around, kind of like cargo crates, and I thought it would just be funny to use this asset for the coin trader rewards, because it's something people don't know is already in the game. So here we have another coin trader. And this is one of the really epic ones, so to speak, because they give you one of the blade fragments of Dvergr. But don't worry, it's not very lore-breaking because it's obscenely expensive. You know, this one was purposely made so expensive that it's easier to get it properly instead of get it this way. But now I want to show you some of the more interesting coin traders. The ultimate reward. You know, you've reached this point in the video, still pretty early on, but hey, why not show it to you right now? I'm gonna go off and take care of that Deathsquito problem in the woods first. Oh, hey, there we go. As you can see, she walks over and then boom, takes it. And after getting those first coins, she reveals her asking price, which in this case is 87 piles of coin. Now that might seem obscene, but trust me, you're gonna understand why in a moment. Let's just do this same process and start paying off this fee. Obviously, the player is never gonna actually do it this way, right? They're not just gonna, spam all of the coins at the same time. In practice, they would need to hang out near the Dvergr and bring things to them and that kind of thing. So it would be like a long-term experience to actually fulfill something like this. And like I said, the prices of the coins are a little bit too high, in all honesty, at the moment. But I found that it's better to start that way and then lower it. So here, let's let this Dvergr take care of this goblin here. The coin traders are absurdly powerful, so you can't really mess with them. Trust me, if you come to Palm, don't try and hurt one. Seriously, don't do it. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Even me, if I try, you know what? I'll show you what happens. If you try and kill them, even if you have God mode on, it ends you. And I'll show you exactly how at the end of the video. But you're gonna have to either skip to that point or listen to me rant about why I love the CoinTrader system so much and think that it's one of the coolest things that I've ever made for Valheim. But before then, let's see what this CoinTrader Beastmaster has for us. Offer the final pile of coins. Boom! We get our little treasure chest. And looky, what happens? It says, summons a powerful swimming Asksfin. Swimming Asksfin. Toss the tier to arm, and then there's a dragon's tier, and it says, toss this at the chest. The mount will be named after the closest player. All right, so we toss it at the chest, and then boom! Look at that. We have a swimming Asksfin. And I'm really proud of these, to be honest. I'm very proud of them. There's reasons they're so expensive, and you're about to find out all about it. Yeah, I know, whatever. Aspen normally swim in lava. Well, guess what? This one swims in water. It's like a boat, and it's a badass companion that also follows you and will follow you around perfectly. And this is something I want to talk to you about here because realistically, if you want the mounts in Valheim to be useful to players, you have to add the follow commands to them. This is because the mounts, when you actually are on them, are incredible on flat terrain. They work really great. The moment you start trying to go up some kind of like elevation, this kind of thing happens. You see what's going on here? Like, I literally just get stuck, and it's very, like, immersion breaking. But luckily, they actually have the tools to answer this already. You just have to put the mount on follow, right? And then as soon as you run away, it's just gonna run right up that terrain that it was having a problem with. And that makes the mounts way more usable, in my opinion. In addition, you also need to make them a lot faster. As you can see here, this Asksfin is faster, but believe it or not, this is not its specialty. They're all quite good at being fighting companions that follow you, right? But this one is a swimming Asksfin. Watch what happens when we go into the water. Boom! Haha. He detects once we're in the water, and then check it out. We are basically in a boat. And here's how the mechanics of the Asksfin work. You have to be careful, of course, you know, because there are enemies, there's serpents, and they can hurt you. Of course, you can still die while you're on the Asksfin. In this case, I only have 25 health, so I would die far before the Asksfin does. But the thing you really need to be aware of is the stamina. You may think that this is some overpowered thing, but it's actually its own meta boating game. Because the stamina cannot regenerate on the Asksfin while it is wet. So look at what you have to do to get more stamina, knowing that if you don't get more stamina, then you're going to die. The Asksfin takes huge amount of damage once it runs out of stamina. But look, I get up here, right? Okay, I'm up here, this is great. Whoa, he's wrecking, dang, look at that. But the Asksfin won't generate any stamina at all for a while because it stays wet. And when the creature is wet, it doesn't regenerate its stamina. So this makes an interesting meta where the stamina of the Asksfin quite literally limits your travel distance. And look at that, now he's almost dead. This guy's got one of his 4 feet right in the grave. But luckily, these special swimming Asksfin eat serpent meat. So there we go, we can just give him some serpent meat, he gobbles it up, and then he heals. And we can see that 3 serpent meats will heal him completely, right? And after all this fuss, he finally just now dried up. It takes the Asksfin a while to dry. And this ends up being the limiting mechanic that means they're not quite as good as boats because they can't stay in the water all the time. But as far as traveling in Valheim goes, I mean, honestly, everybody, this is really, really fun. I've absolutely loved working on these mounts, and I'm excited to see how people will use them. So let's jump back in the water, and you can see what happens when we actually run out of stamina here. So now we are far too far away from the land, and the Axfin will start drowning. And this is what happens if you run out of stamina. Inevitably, your Axfin's just gonna kick the bucket, and then you're gonna end up stranded in the ocean somewhere. It's not an ideal situation to be in. And this is actually just one of the mounts. Path of Magic has 3 mounts and 3 companions. But for now, I'll show you more of the other kinds of features that you can find in the CoinTrader reward system. So far, you've seen that there's overpriced builder's crates that are full of building resources. You've seen there's stamina food stashes. You could probably imagine how there's eater food stashes, health food stashes, stashes of food from Black Forest, stashes of food from the plains, and all sorts of different packages of food and other supplies. So I'm not going to go more into those. Instead, I want to show you the other classifications of CoinTrader rewards. Because now we've gotten into the territory of the video where I feel confident that I can start telling you why I'm so excited about this system. Because at this point, you're listening to me and you're interested, right? So the CoinTrader reward system is, well, in all honesty, it's an attempt to make Valheim last longer. It really is all about those coins. That's your job. If you're making a world, a server, and you want it to be really immersive, that's the secret. Make the coins fun. And unfortunately, when I noticed about this, it's like, all right, I want to make the coins as fun as I possibly can. That's been my mentality on Path of Magic. And we actually already have a coin sync system. Players are able to buy all sorts of different building resources, allowing builders to be in the Black Forest but access Grouston and Ashwood. They can't buy everything that's available. For example, they can't just buy all of the progression medals, but they can buy enough building materials that in the very beginning of the game, you can start experimenting with some of the more advanced, interesting stuff. But like I said, that wasn't enough. Honestly, maybe the changes I'd made before, maybe they covered mid-game and early game. Or maybe I'm just being generous to myself. But either way, it wasn't enough. I could tell because I would see players' chests, and they were just full of gold coins, unspent, sitting there, and I could tell that that player just didn't care about gold coins anymore. They had so many, why bother getting any? And that's where the CoinTrader reward system comes in. It's all about the immersion, the long-time progression, filling the world with expenses for coins, so that ultimately people end up spending them. But here's the thing about this little system. This is actually the 4th iteration of a concept. And I'm not going to say it's my idea, because it happened, it occurred, and then it was improved upon again and again and again, and that grew to something that grew to something that grew to something that became the CoinTraders. The thing I noticed is that we really need good rewards for our players, but you eventually run out of rewards to give. There's only so many powerful items in the game before, if you give more of them, you're just invalidating the other items that are already there. And there's only so many building materials you can give before you have to confront the reality that not everybody likes to build. That's where the CoinTrader reward system comes in. Not only does it give you a couple rewards, it doesn't give you 30. It doesn't give you 64. It doesn't give you 150. In fact, the CoinTrader reward system features over 350 different kinds of rewards. And sure, some of them are things that you won't care about at all. I get it. It only takes one purchase to suddenly bring value right back into the game, to suddenly make those burial chambers worth doing because they give you those coins. It's all about the coins. I'm telling you, if you can figure that part out, everything else comes together. And that's why I've been so dedicated to this project over the past week. As you've seen, you can get building materials and you can get food. You can also get weapons and stronger weapons, but there's more than that. There's custom mounts, and not only that, but there are master-crafted items. Have you ever wanted to be able to build like a kiln that's better than the normal kiln? Or maybe a refinery, blast furnace, or smelter that outputs faster than the normal one? Well, what if I told you it's completely possible in a completely vanilla fashion with Valheim Expand World Prefabs? And it's available on Path of Magic through the CoinTraders system. We can introduce each other now to the contemplating CoinTrader of the Mastercrafted Kiln variety. All we have to do is give him our coins. After we do that, we'll see the price. And this one was actually way more reasonable than all of the others have been so far. And that's the RNG. That's kind of the point. I want to make sure that sometimes it's a bad deal, other times it's a good deal. It's important. So these coin traders work a little bit differently. As you can see, they ask for a smaller amount, and then once they give you the chest, it's a different kind of chest. Ignore the 0, I just haven't filled the instruction in yet. We empty it out, and then nothing happens. Well, think about it. If we just got a fancy kiln, would it be useful if it just shows up right here? Well, no, because we can't move the kiln, right? So instead, the server remembers that that player has a fancy kiln. So now the next kiln that they build is gonna be badass. So here we are, we have charcoal kiln number 1, boom. And look at that. We got a nice little animation and it says Mastercrafted. Did you see that? Whereas now, let's build another one and what's gonna happen? Boom. Nothing. We get this little message, but don't worry about that. That's just some palm nonsense. Now, it's not just some fancy VFX. Check this out. This is a normal charcoal kiln. You get around 25 wood you can put in it, right? So let's start loading it up here, and I don't know, I don't need to put a whole lot in it. I'll just put in like 5. Now, let's look at our Mastercrafted Deep Kiln. As you can see, this can hold 250 wood, way more wood. And not only that, but if we start loading this up, look how fast this thing churns out coal. It's a fucking machine. 1, 2, 3, 4. So not only is it super deep storage, but it also acts really fast. Because honestly, I feel like if you've progressed in the game, you shouldn't have to tolerate the fact that things take forever and you have to make all the coal and stuff. And honestly, there's other ways you can get coal, so why not make a faster kiln? I don't think it's that game breaking, is it? But it doesn't just end at kilns. As I mentioned before, you need to add a lot of abstract rewards. A kiln is an extension, right? We made it deeper, we made it faster. But it still does what a normal kiln does. Let me show you something else. So here we have another coin trader, and this time they have a Mastercrafted Alchemizer. What's that? Well, I'll give you a moment. What do you think an Alchemizer is? Huh? We'll just give him a little bit of a motivation there. And all right, 37 piles of coin for a Mastercrafted Alchemizer. Woof, that sounds crazy. Much more expensive than the previous one. So let's get him going. We're gonna just finish this up. I won't show all of this time. We'll just skip through it. There we go. We gave our last coin. And here we go. We get our credit. Boopity boop. Nice. All right. Now we have a alchemizer credit. And it's actually a wood alchemizer. It makes wood. I just messed up. Sorry. All of the alchemizers are modified versions of the Obliterator. I think maybe you figured it out because of what I just told you. If you think about it, the Obliterator, it's basically a alchemizer for coal. It makes coal out of whatever you put in it. And lo and behold, that is just a single field that you could change to any other item you want in the game. So in this case, I've changed it to wood. That means that we can look at it, it says wood alchemizer, right? And I'm just gonna put everything in this inventory here that's just been from making some stuff. And we can pull the lever. I'm gonna step back here for a moment. And boom, look at that. We have both wood and coal. There are wood alchemizers, stone alchemizers, and black marble and growstone alchemizers, allowing builders in particular to funnel and create building resources out of any of their trash items. And this is the kind of thing that is quite a useful reward. As you just saw, we got a whole pile of wood from that ordeal. And you wanna know what's really funny? Well, I don't know if you noticed, but now we have a wood alchemizer that can turn anything into wood, and behind us, we have charcoal kilns that turn wood into coal. So let's go grab some of that coal over here. I know, I'm sorry, I just can't resist. And let's put it in our little alchemizer. There you go, 5 coal. Whoop-de-doo, pull the lever. And then, what do we have? Hey, we got 5 wood. We turned the coal back into wood. Isn't that funny? I think that it's hilarious. And this kind of stuff is why I've been so motivated to work on this project. I really do believe that it's all about the coins. So if you can make enough variety of rewards that players feel like there's something to find out in the wild, it makes the wilderness feel more worth exploring. It makes exploring feel more fun, and it makes building more accessible. So now, at this point in the video, how is it that they're populated throughout Path of Magic exactly? Well, before I get into that, I want to remind you that Path of Magic is a public, free-to-play server that anyone is welcome to try out. You can even get all of the scripts that I use for free because I believe that sharing them is a great thing for everybody. I've learned from people sharing their scripts, so I hope that by sharing the ones that I've worked on, you can all build even cooler experiences than what we've built here at Path of Magic. That being said, you're invited to try it out. All you have to do is join the poolside Discord, and then look for the JP Valheim or Path of Magic section. From there, there's a Getting Started section that has everything you need to join the server. So just a reminder, because if you've been interested this far in the video, I'm sure you'd enjoy giving Path of Magic a shot. At this point, it's become a pretty cool project. So now that you've learned more about the different kinds of coin traders, I really want to talk to you a little bit about why I think it's so important. Because Valheim has this issue where the world becomes too predictable. And I think that visually, Valheim's awesome. Really. Like, the way they made the world look is great. It's colorful. It has interesting enemies. I don't think those are problems. That being said, there is a predictability of sorts because of the procedural generative nature of the world that makes it very easy for players to learn the patterns. And once they learn the pattern that makes the biome, it is very easy to feel like you've seen it all before. And that's where this CoinTrader project comes in. With this project, I really wanted to apply everything that I've learned from this point and really test out this idea. What happens if you motivate players to explore the world by filling the world with things that make the player have those whoa moments? I worked with the others in Valheim world editing and every other person I could bother to come up with all sorts of different rewards and try and tackle some of these things. And with that, I invite you to this grand experiment of Valheim reward schemes. Why don't you try out Path of Magic? It's free to play, anybody can join. It is a no map, no portal, very hard world, so it's pretty tough. But don't worry, there's loads of features that make it a lot easier, including a main path that goes through every biome in the game, the entirety of the Ashlands, and up to the Deep North. And as soon as the Deep North launches, you can bet your booty it's gonna go right through the Deep North and wrap all around the entire world in an endless loop. Sorry, I get a little bit carried away with the path thing. But my whole point was I was inviting you to try this all out on Path of Magic, 'cause it's currently live there. And I also have a dump of all of the scripts from Path of Magic that I've just updated and distributed on Discord in the Valheim World Editing Config Share section. So if you want to get the scripts yourself, technically you could just take this CoinTrader system, take it out, and make it your own. You can do that. Let's consider it this way. You have my permission to do whatever you want with any of the scripts that I've ever made. Sound good? The only catch is I'd like it if you learn something, okay? That's it. Consider that your payment. Now, back to the CoinTrader reward system. At this point, I've shown you some of the different rewards, and I've talked a bit about the philosophy behind why one would feel that it's an important thing to do. Why give 300 different kinds of rewards to the Dvergr, and not only that, but then populate the entire world with them? Yeah, that's right. These Dvergr aren't just in the Mistlands, they're in every single biome in the game. In fact, if we just wander around, we're bound to find one. That being said, there are limitations on the CoinTraders. It's true that they do spawn out in the wild, but once one CoinTrader is there, another one won't show up. There can't be a second one that spawns close to one that already exists. That being said, there's one right over here. Some of the locations actually roll a chance to spawn a CoinTrader. So if we get closer to this guy, it looks like he has some powerful mushrooms. All right, so let's do our typical procedure. Make him some coins. And he's like, all right, I want 6 piles of coins for my powerful mushrooms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Yeah, one more. Boom. Nice. All right, all right. So he's got this powerful shrooms cache, which has a bunch of these, which are actually really expensive. So the other mushrooms are useful. You see, I got almost every mushroom in the game there, right? All these mushrooms. But it's really these are the big ones. Those ones are super useful. Well, there we go. Now that that's all taken care of, we're all on the same page. You've been invited to Path of Magic. You know what the CoinTrader system is, and where to get the scripts if you're interested in that. So I think at this point, you're ready for the final reward of the video. Let's see what happens if you try and kill a CoinTrader. All right, this is more like it. Oh man, it's kind of weird seeing this. All right, we got our shield. I think we might be able to hold our own for a moment against one of these guys. You know, it's one of the nice shields too. And I didn't make the best, you know, it's still all level 1. It's not level 4. I'm not gonna take the time. I think we'll just be able to just get him by surprise and get him. You know, we're gonna get him. Oh, yep. I had ghost mode on. He noticed. And now I'm black screen, so I can't do anything. I have to either Alt 4 or log out. Yeah. Oh, I just tried to get back to him and he caught me flying. Dang. Okay. Uh-oh. He remembers me. Wait. Oh no. This is pretty funny. I actually feel scared of him. So I have God mode on right now. I wasn't even able to show you what it's like if a mortal tries to kill him because he actually could tell that I had ghost mode on and he wrecked me. And then I came back and he could tell that I was flying, so he wrecked me. And now he's trying to kill me. And I have God mode on, right? So watch what happens if you get too close to him. He's talking, right? Oh no. Oh no. Now I can't move. I have to enter fly to move, but if I enter fly, he's gonna catch me. So I just stay here. And well, yeah, it can tell. It knows I'm in God mode. And look, it's trying to kill me. And it's like, wait a second. How are you alive? You know? And yeah, it all ends. That's why literally you can't beat the Dvergr CoinTrader. And trust me, you don't want to get black screened. If you get black screened in Valheim, your client doesn't save whatever you were just doing. So it loads the previous version of your character and your spawn spot. Make sense? That's why I showed up in the center of the world here. It forgot where I am and forgot my spawn spot because I didn't die, I got black screened. you really don't want to get black screened. It messes things up and you can lose whole inventories, etc. So that's why black screening is specifically reserved for cheating. That's the only time I'll ever black screen a player. So if you experience something like that on Path of Magic and you weren't cheating, then something's wrong. But so far that's never happened. Black screening is something that only happens to players who use Devcommands. And so you have it. That's what happens if you piss off a CoinTrader. But don't worry, when you just die normally, they get unaggroed by your death. So it's only the black screening that turns them into this kind of crazy godlike being. And there are actually ways to kill them, but I'm going to keep those a secret that you can figure out. Because if you do figure it out, yeah, I mean, that's cool. So if you do decide to join here on Path of Magic, you'll find yourself exactly where I am. This is the spawn spot on Path of Magic. And if you go to the runestone, you'll be able to get the Discord information that you need. Because like I said, Valheim's all about community in these things, so we're pretty active in the text there. I don't join the voice chat very often, but I do constantly respond to questions in the text and show my ideas, and I'm really active in the Discord chat for the Path of Magic server. It's where I do all of the brainstorming and development and talk to people about stuff, so even if I'm not online on the server putting something on it, I'm definitely doing something in Discord, because I've been obsessing over this every day of my life for about a year. This server is coming up on a year and a half. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? A Valheim server for a year and a half straight. Crazy. Well, I hope to see you on Path of Magic. And if you want to support my work, then consider liking this video or any other video about Valheim. Alternatively, you could rent a server using my link, JP Valheim. Zap servers are really easy to develop on. It's really easy to reiterate. You can do a lot of like live refreshing and look at the console and get the errors really quickly. Debugging's great. I've had a fantastic experience and I'm happy to promote them. So if you do get a Zap server, you can do it knowing that JP Valheim, who has been developing EWP stuff for over a year on the server, has used a Zap server for it the entire time and is happy with it. I'd rather keep pitching this same thing than deal with all of the hypocrisy of YouTube sponsorships and everything like that. So probably you're gonna keep hearing me talk about Zap hosting because honestly, I'd much rather go that route of YouTube. If you want to help me out, then consider liking the video or just commenting. It really does help when people are more actively engaged. But the ultimate thing you can do for YouTube analytics is find another person who likes this kind of stuff and show them. Share the video with them. That's ultimately the best thing. And that's why I don't really like asking for subscribers in these things. Because for me, I just want to make these videos and I just need to earn a couple $100 more a month and then I'm set. I don't need more. Like, my life is fine. The only reason I have to worry about these things anyway is because I'll be losing around $200 later on this year. So as long as I can earn more than that by then, everything's fine. I can just keep making Valheim content and keep doing this as if it's my full-time job. Because, yeah, just for reference, it is like a full-time job. I work like all the time on the server and everything. And even though I do earn money from YouTube and everything, it's between like $100 and $180 a month. So yeah, you want to break that down hourly into how much time it is, and I don't want to do that. I just have fun, and I hope that someday it is able to pay the rent. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Boom.